why you name it Ethos, and what does it mean?
Ethos is the Greek root of ethics, and ethics are what we are.
Okay.
We're an ethical company, ethical products, and we have ethical customers.
I see.
If you don't have an ethical customer, he needs to tell you the results, not us. You cannot walk in there with a pile of papers and say, this is what it did for John's trucking company. They don't care. They say, what is it gonna do for my fleet? So you have to have them participate in the testing procedure, or the evaluation, or the demonstration. We've called it demonstration, not testing, because people say, you're not gonna test that product in my car. At the, we formed a partnership between the U.S. Marine Corps, the U.S. Army, Aberdeen Proving Grounds, and the Department of Energy and the Department of State of Maryland. So we all were together. We went to Aberdeen Proving Grounds. I needed to have a military escort with me while we were on the proving grounds. So I got a Marine Lieutenant Colonel that was attached to me. So we were going through, and then he drove me, after the whole day, he drove me out to he was gonna drive me to the hotel. We went to lunch. And as we were driving out of Aberdeen, I looked up and there was a big board with the 4 pictures of the 4 military branches. And it said, we all have our own ethos. And so I asked the Lieutenant Colonel, what does that mean?
Right.
And he spent the next 2 hours telling me what ethos means to a military man, about why you don't throw a cigarette butt on the floor, why you don't yell at people, you know, every ethical thing that you could possibly conceive that's built into military training. So when I came home, flying on the plane home, I said, that's a good name for a product.
Yeah.
So I wrote it, scripted it, Ethos. And that's where that original label came from.
I want to see a Marine that doesn't yell, but go ahead.
No, I know.
Enrique, you spoke downstairs in the laboratory about your partnerships, your strategic partnerships with companies, major companies, brand companies that we all know. Would you explain that to these gentlemen again and lady?
The chemical industry is very, very close-knit. If you notice, in the chemical and automotive industries, no one bashes everybody. If you look at Pennzoil, Pennzoil doesn't do an advertisement that says, we're better than Shell. Never. They say, this is our product, this is what it does, it has this, it's good for your car. No one ever attacks the other. Shell gasoline doesn't attack Chevron or Arco or anything. It's the same, it's basically a chemical industry. The chemical industry does the same. Any of the liquids, liquid Tylenol, they don't bash Robitussin. This is better than Robitussin. That's not the way it's done. There's ethics involved in it. We have partnerships with the manufacturers of our components. We were talking about palm oil.
Yes.
One of our esters is the same ester that comes in a palm oil component. But we would need to cut down all of the palm trees in, you know, the whole South American continent would be bare for what we need. So we manufacture those. They're the same ester, but it's manufactured. That's why it's called synthetic, because it's synthesized. But the facility to do that is a pretty big facility. So we have partnerships with Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble is one of the largest chemical companies in the world. They don't just make soap. So they're very, very big, and they supply like mineral oil for all cosmetics. 90% of the mineral oil of the world is manufactured either by Chevron or by Procter & Gamble, and you wouldn't know the difference because they're both the same. They have a working relationship on the facility that's used to develop these products. So, like Monsanto makes other ones for us. Dow Chemical makes others for us. Chevron, Procter & Gamble, Dow, those are all names we all know, but because you don't synthetically manufacture anything unless you have a $500 million facility. And it's not just Joe invented this ester process and he has a factory in South San Francisco. It doesn't happen that way. Raw materials come from all parts of the world, depends on markets, strategies. These liquids are sold in pounds, not in gallons. So we have to be careful as to when the markets are up and down. At the end of the year, I took over a little control of a certain part of the market for some esters that we need, and that made the people at Maybelline very upset because it's one of the esters they use for lipstick. So we play that battle, but all I try to do is maintain the price. The price that we have right now, that 4E has from us, or I still keep saying 4E.
I do too. It abbreviates it.
Right, the pricing and our suggested pricing has never changed. It's been the same for 11 years. Even though the price of raw materials has gone 4 times higher. But our original business model, we had a facility in Los Angeles and we were buying very small quantities to make this product. Then as things progressed, we started buying larger quantities, so we were able to lower our wholesale cost. And then as basically no manufacturing process. You cannot manufacture anything in Los Angeles. That's just LA.
The reasons is?
We are the largest blending facility on the west coast of the United States. There are no bigger storage, and the differentiation is that we don't store outside in silos. That's the difference, because this becomes a blending facility, not a storage facility that just passes through.